You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
It is Friday, October the 11th of 2024. Right now, some clouds. The first time that we've started off one of our mornings in quite a while with any cloud cover. We've seen plenty of sunshine and blue skies, but it's actually a bit cloudy. It's actually a bit warmer. We're expecting a very warm for this time of year day. But right now, 55 degrees at our downtown studios at the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street in downtown Wausau. I am Chad Holmes. It is the Friday edition of the Chad Holmes Show on 98.9 WXCO, online at bullfallsradio.com, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. You can also join us by going to facebook.com, go to the 98.9 WXCO page, and then go to our video stream, as we will be always video streaming it on Facebook. You can then add your comments and questions on that posting on Facebook, and we will respond to those. Also, if you would like to be part of the show, you can join us either by calling or texting, and the best way is through the Civic Media app. Again, if you have not downloaded the Civic Media app, what are you waiting for? Just go to your app store and then search Civic Media, then download the app. It is free. It is always free. And then once you have the app, you'll be in contact with all 20 of the Civic Media radio stations. And the fifth one down is 98.9 WXCO. You can open it up, have a chance to go to our webpage, be able to email us, be able to listen live wherever you are tonight. In fact, you'll be able to use the Sports 2 stream to hear one of our high school sports broadcasts live. And you can also call or text us during this program. And you can call or text during any program, in fact, here on Civic Media and this show and all the other shows from around the state as well. And also, if you would just like to call or text the old-fashioned way, use the digits 715-382-9297. That's 715-382-9297. We'd love to hear from you. If there's something we are not talking about that you think we should be talking about, make sure you call in or text in and let us know about it. Coming up today, Brittany Merlot is off today, so she will not be with us at 8:21, but we'll still take a peek at the weather. Normally on Fridays, we get a chance to talk Wisconsin sports with Paul Mickley, but it is homecoming week for the Newman Catholic football team, so this morning he's actually going off with some of the players on the team, going to some of the Newman Catholic elementary schools, paying a visit to get the school spirit and the team spirit up for tomorrow's game, so he is unable to be with us as well. So in the last 24 hours, I kept getting these calls, can't make it tomorrow. What we're going to do coming up later on in this hour, I'm not sure if you all caught last night, but as we head down the stretch of this campaign, we're seeing some of the big guns come out. And I think the biggest gun on the Democratic side is former President Barack Obama. And the former president was in Pittsburgh last night. It was part of a rally for the Harris Walz campaign also. a very tight United States Senate race in Pennsylvania, much like here in the state of Wisconsin. There is an incumbent Democratic senator in Pennsylvania, Bob Casey, like Tammy Baldwin here in Wisconsin. And these are races that are very, very important for the Democrats to keep control of the United States Senate. And Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin in tight races. So President Obama, in order to help the top of the ticket, but also help Senator Casey, was in Pennsylvania. And it was a barn burner. And again, it's I want to play a few of the cuts a little bit later in this hour and also explain why I think the way that the former president went about things is the way that the Democrats have to be. They have to be strong. They have to stop almost apologizing for some of the things that they believe. And one example that's occurred here in the last couple of days is Tim Walz and some comments he made about the Electoral College. Tim Walz at an event in California said that the Electoral College needs to go. In fact, Governor Walz said, "I think all of us know the Electoral College needs to go. We need a national popular vote, but that's not the world we live in," he said in a campaign fundraiser in California. He said, "So we need to win Beaver County, Pennsylvania. We need to be able to go into York, Pennsylvania, win. We need to be in western Wisconsin and win. We need to be in Reno, Nevada and win." It's exactly right. But then the Harris campaign put out a statement saying that removing the Electoral College is not their official policy platform, though they did not reject the idea outright. I mean, and then they put out this mealy-mouthed statement to CNN. Governor Walz believes that every vote matters in the Electoral College, and he is honored to be traveling the country in battleground states working to earn the support for the Harris-Walz ticket. He was commenting to a crowd of strong supporters about how the campaign is built to win 270 electoral votes, and he was thanking them for their support that is helping fund those efforts. How about being strong on that issue and other issues? Sometimes there is this incredible fear of saying anything that might be somewhat controversial. Well, the Trump campaign obviously came right out and said, "Oh, this means if President Trump wins in a tight Electoral College victory, that the Democrats are going to be saying it's not legitimate." That's not what Walz was saying. And also, more than 60% of the American people are in favor of abolishing the Electoral College and going to a one-person, one-vote system in this country. Don't be afraid to say the truth. Don't be afraid to say what you believe. Don't be afraid to throw a couple of elbows out. And that's what former President Obama did last night in Pittsburgh. And we're going to hear some of these comments. And he got out the scalpel against Donald Trump. And we're going to hear some of those comments coming up later in this hour. In the second hour, normally when we have Coach Micklig on with us to talk Wisconsin sports, we're going to hear a conversation with one of his players, Carson Callow. Carson Callow was our student athlete guest on the Big High School Sports Show this week, and we're going to hear our conversation with an outstanding young man, an outstanding two-way starter, offensive and defensive line for the Newman Catholic Cardinals, Carson Callow, joining us in the second hour of the program. And a quick note that, again, we have 3 high school football games between tonight and tomorrow. Tonight, a pair of games, 1 game tomorrow afternoon. Tonight, I am heading to Eau Claire. I will have the Wausau West Warriors in a must-win. Warriors need a W as they are battling for a playoff spot. Wausau West at Eau Claire Memorial, 6:35 for the pregame, 7 o'clock for the opening kickoff, live right here on 98.9 WXCO, online at bullfallsradio.com, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Also tonight, live on the Sports 2 stream of bullfallsradio.com and the Civic Media app, Jeremy Cole will be at Wittenberg as the Marathon Red Raiders take on the Wittenberg-Burnhamwood Chargers in a CWC Large Division matchup. Again, that game can be heard live on the Sports 2 stream of bullfallsradio.com and on the Civic Media app, starting with the pregame show at 6:40, and the opening kickoff at 7 p.m. And then tomorrow, we have live football with the Newman Catholic Cardinals, as the Cardinals will be taking on Tri-County. Cardinals fighting for a playoffs berth as well. A must-win for Newman Catholic. We will have live coverage of the Cards, starting with the pregame show at 12:35 and the opening kickoff at 1 p.m. So again, we are very proud to be the only Wausau radio station that still provides live play-by-play of high school sports. 98.9 WXCO, BullFallsRadio.com, mobile devices by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. And a guy that's going to be helping me out tonight with our high school football broadcast. He'll be working with Jeremy Cole in the broadcast for the Marathon Red Raiders. He is across the way behind the glass, our in-studio engineer, Ian Welsh. Ian, good morning.
Good morning, Chad. Sounds like we have a pretty busy show today.
Well, we do, and I hope that, the weekend isn't too busy for you. I know last weekend you made a road trip down to Madison for that fantastic show with Steve Martin and Martin Short. Anything to wow me that you're up to this weekend?
Well, actually, my escape room adventure crew is we're actually going down to Madison tomorrow after I do the sports show here. We'll be heading to Madison to do our first escape room in Madison. We haven't done one in Madison, so we got a cool escape room picked out. And since it's since it is the Halloween season, we're all going to dress up in costumes. That's one of our traditions that we do with most of our escape rooms, is we dress up in costumes, do these escape rooms, and have lots of fun. So going to Madison for our first escape room in Madison, it should be so awesome.
But you should get a second place down in Madison. You're spending so much time in the state capital.
Oh, I can never live in the big city.
It's a nice place to visit, though, right?
Yeah.
Banto.
I give kudos to my brother Travis and my sister Hannah, who live in Madison, because they put up with it for many years now. They seem to be doing very well.
Madison's a nice place. It really is.
It really is a nice place.
It's got that energy of being a big college town, and I think you'll have a good time. So fantastic. So enjoy again, but make sure that you drive safely. I've seen
absolutely. That's always the main thing. Well, we always make sure we're safe.
Are you behind the wheel or is someone else driving?
Well, I'm not driving. My good friend Nathan is driving, and he always plays it safe. He always knows how to keep us in line, and I would trust him completely.
I've heard that sometimes you can be a little bit. You gotta be focused behind the wheel. Hey, we're going to take a time out, come back, have a quick look at the weather, and start to hear some of the comments that President Obama had last night in Pittsburgh. The time is 8:19, Bull Falls Radio, 98.9 WXCO. Chad Home Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at bullfallsradio.com, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. Normally at this time, we are joined by meteorologist Brittany Merlot, but Brittany taking the day off. She'll be back with us on Monday, so getting the weekend off to an early start. And if you're a fan of this great weather we've had recently, today will be the final day, at least for a little bit, because actually as I look ahead, we are seeing some nice weather and warmer than normal temperatures moving in by the end of next week as well. But we're going to take a little dip here for the weekend and actually see a chance of some rain going into the weekend. And today, but a today, again, well above normal. Another very nice day lined up. We're going to turn partly sunny again in a high near 75 degrees. Southwest winds 7 to 14 miles per hour, becoming north-northwest in the afternoon. The winds could gust up a bit as high as 22 miles per hour. Tonight, partly cloudy skies and a low dipping to 39. Tomorrow, a 30% chance of showers, mainly between 1 and 4 p.m. Otherwise, mostly cloudy. It does turn cooler. High temperature tomorrow of 59 degrees. Tomorrow night, mostly cloudy. 40% chance of showers after 1 a.m. and a low of 40. Sunday, showers. So as I said, I think yesterday, if you're one of the folks that has tickets to go to Lambeau Field Sunday for the Packers and the Arizona Cardinals, you may have to bring out the weather slickers and the umbrellas and make sure you're bundled up. Showers and very chilly, in fact. Only a 51-degree high temperature coming up on Sunday. And then Indigenous Day on Monday, partly sunny, a 40% chance of showers in a high only of 49 degrees. We have not seen high temperatures like that in a very, very long time. But then after Monday, things turn sunny again and they start warming up. At this point, at least, 53 on Tuesday, 61 on Wednesday, 66 on Thursday, and then get to next Friday, back up to 70 degrees. So
there you go.
So again, may have to deal with a weekend where the weather isn't the greatest, but then things will turn nice again towards the early to middle part of next week. And right now in downtown Wausau, cloudy skies, temperature stands at 56 degrees. I got a message late last night from, Sarah Rudolph, don't you?
Yes, I
worked
do.
with Sarah.
Good friend of mine.
Absolutely. She works, definitely. She was, again, my director back when I went to school at UW-Marathon County when she first came to Wausau to become the lead professor over at UW-MC before, unfortunately, it changed over to UW-SP at Wausau. We lost that wonderful theater program they had for so many years.
She was one of my teachers at Stevens Point. She taught my theater class.
Yeah,
And
she's...
It really helped to expand my acting abilities and theater knowledge a lot more.
But yeah, I just was looking and she had sent a message last night and I just saw it here. And there's a special event coming up with the Wisconsin Democrats coming up on Monday. Really cool. Got a couple of great governors coming to Wausau Monday morning. Got Governor Tony Evers, of course, we know so very well here in the state of Wisconsin. And also one of my favorite governors. I think she has done an incredible job with the state of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer. She is just a fantastic. I think she is somebody to keep an eye on in the future for even higher office. She's been a great governor in Michigan, and she's coming to Wausau Monday as well. It's going to be an event at 9 a.m. Monday morning, and Sarah sent me a note saying, would you like to come with me? You know what the problem is at 9 o'clock in the morning?
We're doing this show.
Yes! I would love to go see Governor Whitmer, and of course Governor Evers as well, but we're in the midst of doing our show, and we got some guests coming in Monday morning.
Send you an invite.
I know, it's very nice, but it's like, doggone it. And I've noticed that a lot. A lot of these events that occur in Wausau are usually like around 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
it's
early events.
Yeah, they're early events, and they tend to be around the time that we're doing our show. But I think if you're somebody that is, politically active and somebody that's part of the Democratic movement in the state of Wisconsin, I think this is something you should take a hard look at because, again, Governor Evers, fantastic job in his close to 6 years now of being the governor of the state of Wisconsin.
Long time.
And then Governor Whitmer as well. And again, I just think that when you look at the future, the leadership of this country, that we are now, I think we're at a bit of a tipping point for both the Republican and Democratic parties, where you have to find those next generations of leaders, whether it's at the local level, whether it's at the state level, and then at the national level as well. And Governor Whitmer, I think, is one of those, next generation figures that we're going to hear a lot from, not just within the state of Michigan, but throughout the country as well. And it's really great to see that she's coming to Wausau. And again, I'm going to send Sarah a message back saying, no, doggone it. But how about grabbing them, making them come over here before the event?
Maybe we could get them on our show.
That would be so much fun, But we've been very fortunate that folks within the Wisconsin Democratic Party and the Harris Walz campaign have been very good to us, and they've been very good partners, and they've had folks they've wanted to speak to the people here in north central Wisconsin, and to be able to have great guests, including, of course, the governor of Minnesota and the vice presidential nominee, Tim Walz. But
oh my gosh, that was so awesome.
I know. So hopefully we'll be able to get some other terrific guests as we head down the stretch, as we're down to 25 days until Election Day. 25 days.
A little over 3 weeks.
I know it. So it's getting more and more intense. It's more and more important that everybody gets ready. Make sure they're registered. If you need to vote absentee, make sure you do that, and just make sure you have a plan to vote. Again, don't want to get to Election Day and then something comes up and you're not able to vote. It's way too important. So
make sure you plan ahead.
Exactly.
Mark
right.
your calendars.
And speaking of a big voice within the Democratic Party,
indeed,
President Barack Obama, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about some of the sound we're going to hear starting in the next segment, because he was, I thought, on fire last night in Pittsburgh, and he's going to be traveling in support of the Harris-Walz campaign. Can we hope that he comes here to Wisconsin and central Wisconsin in the next 3.5 weeks? Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be a huge honor.
So we'll see. But we'll hear from President Obama coming up after an information update. The time is 8:29 here on 98.9 WXCO.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Chad Home Show, 98.9 WXCO, BullFallsRadio.com, mobile devices, and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. It is 8:35. It is 56 degrees under mostly cloudy skies here in downtown Wausau. Again, temperature expected to get into the upper 70s before all is said and done here today. And quick notes again, don't forget the 4th Annual Central Wisconsin Indigenous Peoples Powwow coming to the Expo Center in Rothschild this weekend. We talked to Tricia Zunker about it a couple of days ago, so if you have an opportunity, make sure to check that out. Coming up both on Saturday and on Sunday. And if you missed our discussion with Tricia Zunker earlier in the week, you can check that out and all of our programs by going to the podcast page at civicmedia.us, bullfallsradio.com, or through your anywhere you get your podcasts, whether it is Spotify or Apple or Google. You can subscribe and make sure you don't miss a thing here on this program and all the other Civic Media programs as well. Well, last night, again, I have to say I was, if you don't get fired up when you hear former President Barack Obama, I don't know, your heart is not beating hard enough, because the man is still so brilliant in terms of being able to identify what is vital. And also, nobody does a better job of doing to Donald Trump what Trump hates more than anything else, which is ridicule him. And
calling him out.
He calls him out, and he pits Trump in all of his weakest points. And now in the final weeks of the campaign, we're going to start seeing more of Barack Obama on the campaign trail. Last night, he was in Pittsburgh, and really, really good stuff. He was on stage with Senator Bob Casey of Pennsylvania. Again, a very important race for control of the United States Senate. Casey's race in Pennsylvania, Baldwin's race here in Wisconsin, and a couple of others as well. But I wanted to share a few of the sound bites of the 45-minute address that Barack Obama had last night in Pittsburgh. And he hit it like any good musician. He knows which notes to hit. And he's not somebody that can just play one note. He can go up and down the scale. And he can be serious. He can be fun. He can be comedic. He can hit on the issue specifically, and he can talk with broad strokes as well. And one area which, of course, he is very focused on is the Affordable Care Act, known by folks who love it as Obamacare and by those who don't like it as Obamacare. And I think he's more than happy to have his name with that, with 45 million people, including myself, who have been very, very fortunate to have the Affordable Care Act. He talked about the real truth behind the ACA when it comes to who's trying to protect it and who's trying to ruin it. And here's what former President Barack Obama said last night about the ACA, Trump-Harris, in Pittsburgh.
When it comes to health care, you heard it in the debate. Donald Trump's got one answer: ending the Affordable Care Act that 45 million people rely on. The other day, his running mate, J.D. Vance, you got to vote. The other day, his running mate had the nerve to say, Donald Trump salvaged the Affordable Care Act. I mean, Donald Trump spent his entire presidency trying to tear it down. And by the way, he couldn't even do that right. And now, 8 years after he was elected, when he was asked about what he was going to do, he says he's got concepts of a plan for how he'd replace it. Now, I want you all to think about this for a second. Let's say your boss gives you an assignment, a project. He says, I need this on Friday. And Friday comes around and he says, so, did you finish that project I asked for? And you say, well, I actually haven't started, but I have a concept of a plan. Or you could try it at home. Honey, did you do the dishes? I have a concept of a plan to do the dishes. How's that going to go over? If it wouldn't work for you, why in the heck should it work for the President of the United States? But the good news is, Kamala Harris, she doesn't have concepts for a plan. She has an actual plan to make your life better.
Obama does things so very well. He weaves, again, the facts of the issue, in this case, health care, but he's also very, very aware of what Donald Trump hates to hear.
See, that's what I've been saying, is that Kamala actually has a plan. Trump has a concept of a plan.
But he also ridicules Donald Trump, and Donald Trump hates that. He cannot stand it. It drives him crazy. And former President Obama continued trying to poke the bear, in this case, Donald Trump, talking about the way that Donald just whines and whines and whines, and still uses the humor involved in it as well.
I've said it before. Donald Trump is a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. You've got the tweets in all caps, the ranting and the raving about crazy conspiracy theories. You got the 2-hour speeches, word salad, just, it's like Fidel Castro, just on and on. Constant attempts to sell you stuff. Who does that? Selling you gold sneakers and a $100,000 watch and most recently a Trump Bible. He wants you to buy the Word of God, Donald Trump edition. Got his name right there next to Matthew and Luke. I mean, you could not make this stuff up. If you saw it on Saturday Night Live, you'd say, well, no, that's going too far. No, he's doing that. It's crazy. And the reason he does it is because all he cares about is his ego and his money and his status. He's not thinking about you.
And the thing about what he just did in that clip is he hit Trump where Trump doesn't like to be hit. And it's also, again, so true. I mean, how have we got to this point where you have this guy who is selling golden shoes and he's selling his own version of the Bible?
Plus the fact he has a golden elevator.
Yeah, the golden elevator. He's got the golden toilet. He's got everything like that. It's just craziness. It's the kind of thing if you had in a movie, you say, nah, no way the American people would fall for this charlatan. And yet millions and millions of people continue to wave their Trump flags. We drive around here in central Wisconsin.
I drive around Mosinee. I see the flags and the banners all over people's yards and their doors.
I mean, they drape their homes in this stuff, saying Trump, 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 and the president, is hitting Trump where it hurts, but also pointing out this is ridiculous. This is insanity that we are falling for this guy that has no sense of what an average person goes through each and every day of their lives. And in a certain case, there's a funny aspect to it. But then as well, President Obama has the ability to get very, very serious about what this all means.
Oh, he does.
And this past week and last week as well, back-to-back massive hurricanes hitting our country and putting millions of people without power, some without their homes, some without their lives. And President Obama gets very serious talking about what Trumpists, MAGAs, have been saying, these conspiracy theories in the last couple of weeks, and the seriousness of this, and very, very, very powerful stuff. Here's what President Obama said concerning the danger that Trump and his allies with these conspiracy theories are putting America through.
Knew it wasn't true. Even local Republicans said it was not true. And now the people of Florida are dealing with another devastating storm. And I want you to watch what happens over the next few days, just like the last time. You're going to have leaders who try to help, and then you have a guy who will just lie about it to score political points, and this has consequences. Because people are afraid, and they've lost everything, and now they're trying to figure out, how do I apply for help? And some of them may be discouraged from getting the help they need. The idea of intentionally trying to deceive people in their most desperate and vulnerable moments. And my question is, when did that become okay? I'm not looking for applause right now. I want to ask Republicans out there. People who are conservative, who didn't vote for me, who didn't agree with me. I had friends who disagreed with me on every issue. When did that become okay? Why would we go along with that? I mean, if your coworkers acted like that, they wouldn't be your coworkers very long. If you're in business and somebody you're doing business with just outright lies and manipulates, you stop doing business with them. Even if you had a family member who acted like that, you might still love them, but you tell them you got a problem. And you wouldn't put them in charge of anything. And yet, when Donald Trump lies or cheats or shows utter disregard for our Constitution, when he calls POWs losers or fellow citizens vermin, people make excuses for it.
Vermin. And again, I said at the start of the show, when I made the example of what Governor Tim Walz said about the Electoral College, and then all of a sudden the campaign comes out as, oh, no, that's not exactly what he meant. Stop being afraid to tell the truth. And I'm not saying that the Democrats are afraid to tell the truth and all, but sometimes it feels like you got being careful because we have to be nice to the other side all the time. Well, Donald Trump says these things, and President Obama said, "When did this become okay?" And
That's absolutely right.
And I'm on a real fast before I let you jump in here. I think he's talking more to the people out there than even to Trump when he said that, because it's the people that in the millions that go and vote for Donald Trump that are saying it's okay.
You're so right.
They got to say this is not okay, and I'm not going to reward this man with my vote, even if I'm a conservative. But they keep doing it. They keep nominating him. The rank and file of the Republican Party is nominated as the number one Republican 3 consecutive elections, 2016, 2020, and 2024. They have said, of all the Republicans in the country, of all the people in the country, this is the guy we want to be the standard bearer for our country. And President Obama is saying, hey, when did it become okay for this guy to say this, and then these people still allow it to fester?
Seriously, it just makes you sick.
I got a couple of more cuts I want to let you hear from President Obama last night in Pittsburgh. Again, I think it's important to hear a man that knows how to talk to Americans and really, like a laser, focus on what's important and really put Donald Trump into proper focus as well. The time is 8:49, 98.9 WXCO. What are words for? We've heard plenty of words over the years from Donald Trump. We've heard plenty of words from Barack Obama, and we heard some words last night in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as the former president hitting the campaign trail for the Harris-Walz ticket, also helping out Bob Casey, the sitting United States Senator in the state of Pennsylvania. Bob Casey was out on stage with Barack Obama in Pittsburgh last night and sharing a few of the comments. Again, what I thought was an exceptionally strong address from former President Obama. It spoke about 45 minutes as opposed to when Trump gets up there and goes for 2 hours and people are walking out on him before all is said and done. But 45 minutes of very strong material from President Obama. And one of the aspects that is very noticeable in recent elections is a gender gap, where men, especially white men, but even to a certain extent black men, support Donald Trump at a higher rate than women do by a big margin. That there is this idea that Trumpists and MAGAs try to push forward that Donald Trump is a strong person, that he's a man's man, that he is somebody that men can really identify with.
He thinks himself as masculinity here personified.
Exactly. And President Obama tried to send a message out, especially, I think, to black men, but men in general, that what Donald Trump is the opposite of strong, that he is not a strong man. He is not a strong person. And here's what President Obama tried to send the message concerning Donald Trump to other men in this country.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. I've noticed this especially with some men who seem to think Trump's behavior, the bullying and the putting people down, is a sign of strength. And I am here to tell you that is not what real strength is. It never has been. Real strength is about working hard and carrying a heavy load without complaining. Real strength is about taking responsibility for your actions and telling the truth even when it's inconvenient. Real strength is about helping people who need it and standing up for those who can't always stand up for themselves. That is what we should want for our daughters and for our sons, and that is what I want to see in a president of the United States of America.
And that, I think, is such an important point. Men need to be told that again and again and again, that if they think what Donald Trump is strong, they have a completely warped sense of what strong is. Donald Trump is the opposite of a strong man. He has never taken the weight of a woman or a family or children or anybody but himself. It's all about him. Real men in real strength provide for their family, provide emotional strength as well. What kind of emotional strength has he ever provided for anybody but himself?
True strength is caring about others, not just yourself.
And it's about caring about others. And the final cut I wanted to play is President Obama talking about who does Donald Trump really care about. It's not about you.
Don't boo. If Donald Trump does not care that a mob might attack his own vice president, do you think he cares about you? Pennsylvania, we do not need 4 more years of that. We don't need 4 more years of arrogance and bumbling and bluster and division. America's ready to turn the page. We are ready for a better story, one that helps us work together instead of turning against each other. Pennsylvania, we're ready for a President Kamala Harris. And the good news is Kamala Harris is ready to do the job.
Barack Obama, former president of the United States, speaking last night in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And I have to...
Everything he has said is just so true and so irrelevant. I mean, whatever happened to the golden rule, people, when we were taught in elementary school? Treat others the way you want to be treated. If this man is treating you like garbage, how is that okay if you're treating other people like garbage? If you want people to respect you, you have to respect others.
And hoping that you bring a guy in office who's going to keep people below you down is not the way to make our country great again. I just think that some folks really care more about keeping others down than lifting everybody up. And that's unfortunate. And again, it's going to be a very interesting next 25 days. The rundown until Election Day. 25 days away. And then we'll know who will be the new president of the United States starting in January of 2025. Coming up, it's an information update here at the top of the hour. We'll find out what's happening around the world, around the country, around the state, and around the area. And then another hour to go here on this Friday morning. The time is 8:58. I'm Chad Holmes, along with Ian Welsh. It is the Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.